It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.
Welcome back to the Evan Edition, where we talk movies, TV, comics, pop culture, and everything in between. I am your host, Evan Bernstein, and today we have a special episode because we have a special guest on here. Today's guest is someone who truly understands storytelling from every angle. As an actor, writer, composer, and filmmaker, he spent years building a career both on stage and on screen. Whether performing, writing, composing music, or stepping behind the camera, one thing has remained constant: a passion for telling stories that bring people together. That journey has now led to The Conspiracists, a comedy mockumentary that he co-wrote with his wife, and he also directed, blending sharp satire, absurd humor, and an unforgettable ensemble of characters. But beneath all the laughs is something I found especially meaningful. At its heart, the film explores the idea of community, finding your people, sharing passions, and discovering that even our strangest quirks can bring us together. What makes the project even more impressive is that this independent feature was brought to life in just 11 consecutive shooting days, an incredible accomplishment for any filmmaker. Today, we're going behind the script, behind the camera, and behind the making of The Conspiracists. We'll explore the creative process, independent filmmaking, and why stories that make us laugh can sometimes say the most about who we are. Michael Perry Jr., welcome to the Evan Edition.
Hey, Evan, thanks for having me. What an intro. Thank you. I felt so special.
I told you, we got to roll out the red carpet for you, and I'm so happy to have you here. Yeah, it was such an interesting way to discover you. Eddie, one of the executive producers, reached out, saw like a clip on TikTok and was like, you should interview us about our movie we have out. I was like, well, let me take a look at this. So great marketing.
Really cool. Well, thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie. And yeah, I love how organic that was. And then just looking into your background, how vast it is, all this different kinds of experience, and then finally getting your feature film off the ground, co-writing with your wife. What an incredible journey and experience. So I'm just so glad to be able to sit here and talk to you about it today.
Thank you. Yeah, it was truly a dream come true. You just never expect that like things go the way. Life is so interesting, and I never expected to direct a feature, let alone one that I wrote with my wife. It's so super surreal to even have something to talk about like this.
That's great. No, that's awesome. And I can't wait to get into it with you. Really find out what it took to make, in my opinion, such a meaningful film and really, really funny. Before we do, though, we have to get to know Michael a little bit. And like I was saying, your experience is so vast. You've been an actor, you've written, you've composed music. Now you've directed a feature film.
Yeah.
I was wondering, which one feels the most like home to you?
Definitely acting, especially on stage specifically. I have done acting for film and TV and things like that, but hi. And how fun is that?
We're live. Anything can happen.
I think it's wonderful. Hi, everyone. Definitely acting, and specifically stage acting, is my truest passion in life. It's what got me into the arts in general. There's just something about that live, like just feeling the room and the people and everybody's heart sort of syncing up together. It's just, you can't even, there's no way to contain that in any other medium. And so that sort of thing, also performing music, but specifically acting. And then I discovered that being behind the camera, specifically when it came to film, TV, was like a very interesting new avenue that I had always dreamed was possible and I hoped was possible. But, you know, I was like, well, I don't live in LA, so I don't think it's going to be happening. And yet here we are.
Perfect. Which discipline do you think has made you better at all the others?
That's a really good question. I think music. I think being a composer and being a songwriter, and I'm a multi-instrumentalist. You can see some of that. They're around me all the time. This is my studio, and so my piano's here, my guitars are here, and they go across the wall. My bass and my ukuleles, and I think it changes the way you listen, and the rhythms of what you listen to and how you listen. To both people and music and conversation, and what you look for comes from a different point of view as a composer versus any of the other ones, which is like, of course you listen as an actor, of course you listen as a writer, you want to write, but all of that kind of stems back to this musicality, which is that like voices in tandem are always going to be sort of musical, and especially with comedy, it's like timing is everything and tempo is everything. And that all comes, I think, from my musical background.
That's really cool. I noticed you spent years working in theater before moving into feature filmmaking.
Yeah.
Do you think theater teaches actors and storytellers something that film sometimes can't?
Yeah, I had a conversation with another friend of mine who has a podcast, but he has one about careers specifically. And he knew nothing about acting at all. He was very interested to have me as a guest. And we talked about the differences between theater and film and the conversation between, or film and TV, camera work. And when you're in theater, you're always in a master shot. You're always in a wide shot. You have no choice. The audience gets to see everything. And you can't control where they're looking, really. They can start to wander and go, oh, look at all the cool things on the shelf over there, and stop watching the play or the musical entirely just because they're focusing on that. And you don't want them to, per se, but they're going to do. It's the free will that comes with being an audience member, is that you're in this wide master the entire time. Whereas with film, we get to direct, as directors and editors get to direct what you experience. So like, if we want you to know what time it is, that's what we show you. And if we don't, then it's probably not that important. Everything that is important is shown. And then it sort of spoils you as, I think, a viewer. If you watch enough movies and you write and you think about it like that, you can 90% of the time guess what's going to come based on what they have to show you to get the information across. So it's like, they showed us that notebook. I bet she wrote something in it before she died. Like, it's like you start to come up with these ideas. And so, yeah, I'm fascinated with that, because in theater, because it is so massive, there's this ability to hide things that are truly important amongst the mass of things that we're looking at. And playwrights like Martin McDonagh, who also moved really well into film, very much in his work will hide a piece of something that is like there the entire time. And then it becomes useful towards the end of the second half of the show, and you're like, "Oh, that piece that was actually, that's her ashes. Oh,
right."
But it was hiding there. Whereas in a movie, we would probably have to give it a close up at some point, give it some sort of B-roll, cut to it, just be like, "Don't forget that's there," because you're not seeing it in any other shot. And so, yeah, I find that very fascinating, the difference between the two. So I have learned quite a bit about controlling the audience's eye. So as a performer in theater, it's always like, am I the focus, or what's the focus, and how can I help lend the focus to that? So if I'm not supposed to be the one being looked at, I can't be doing anything. I have to kind of just focus on whatever the person I'm supposed to be. So it's like, hey, everybody, look over there, because you're not getting anything from this guy. And so in a way, you sort of create this filmic directorial attention. You're forming their attention. You're teaching them how to pay attention as an audience in theater. And I think that has informed me as a director, especially with the Conspiracists.
You've worn so many creative hats throughout your career. Was directing always the destination, or did you discover it later that this is something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I I always, like I said, I dreamed of being a film director, but I never thought it would be possible. So I sort of let it go until this happened, because I would make short films for every reason whatsoever. When I was a kid, I had a camcorder. At first, I started with my parents, like the giant ones, and this is for anybody younger than us. We just talked about our, like, being born in the 90s generation. The camcorder is like, the size of this, like this prop I have from a it's like it's this big, and you get the little eye thing, and you're like, all right,
Yeah,
go
and you
ahead.
got the light. You got the light
Yes,
on
the
top
lights on
of
top, the
it.
microphone's also attached to it,
Yeah.
and you have to, and it's black and white inside, so you can't really tell what's going on. That's what I was shooting with, and then you take the tape, and you'd have to put it into a bigger tape and put that into a thing to get onto the computer.
Yeah.
And then you could edit it from there. And then as cameras got smaller and we got mini DVs and all those things, and eventually they just went direct to, like, USB storage, we could, or SD cards and things like that. It just got smaller and smaller and smaller, and it got easier and easier to do that. But yeah, through since I was like 10, my neighbors and I would make these short films. We did like a parody of Law and Order in our neighborhood called Law and Order XYZ. We did we did where, like, my brother was a corpse, but he wouldn't stay still, so it's like in the background on the blanket, it's just constantly moving, and that was like just became the tone of the show, because we were like, well, we can't control it, so as serious as we want to be, that's happening behind us. And that was very funny. And then, yeah, we sort of, any project, if I could convince my teacher to let me make a short film instead of having to, like, do a poster or something, or some sort of diorama, I would 100% be like, I could make a little movie. And they'd be like, sure, go ahead. And so I have a teacher that was my US history teacher in, like, 10th grade, who I made a short called America Loves War. And it was like a history of all the wars in America, told through these little sketches with my friends. And she still has it. I made like a DVD cover, and it's like, had like fake reviews on it. It's like Siskel and Ebert, back when Siskel was still alive. And it would be like Siskel and Ebert say that this movie exists, and she still has it. She sent me a message like last year that she said, look what I found in my classroom. Like, cool. Still have the DVD of the project you turned in 10th grade. And I just thought, wow, it's cool that it's like sticking with them. And yeah, so it's always been a passion of mine. I love being behind the camera. I think I have a good eye for building pictures. I just never, you have to choose sometimes a path. And I was like, well, acting is the one that I can't give up. And so I stuck in acting, and it has worked out for me well as far as theatrically, and even a little bit of TV and stuff, but mainly, being an actor. I never expected to have this return to my world, and I have to give so much props and shout out to specifically Beatrice and Eddie, who run Uncultured Swine, who are my executive producers on this film. A few years back, B and I did a play together, in Rhode Island, and we became good friends. And then she was like, I have this good idea for a TV pilot. Do you want to write it? Because I think that, we could have fun with this, and we could co-direct it, and I'll be in it, and then you can be behind the camera. And we did this. And so we shot this TV pilot in 2019, and it was like so cool and so good. We were like so excited to pitch it. And then
what happened after that?
It just fell apart. I don't know what happened. So that happened, and it sort of fell apart and sort of took a back burner, and nobody really wanted it because they weren't making new stuff, and then the backlog was huge. And so I started a series of readings online during the pandemic called Socially Isolated Script Readings, or SISR. And I would just hire money, brought all my actor friends and writer and director friends into these massive Zoom rooms of like 60 people. And we would just read people's new scripts, or one of my new scripts, or we'd just read like a segment, or I would issue a challenge, like a 10-minute play It's like take the week, you write it, and then every week. And we did that for 52 weeks in a row. So a full year we did this thing. And then it moved into the real world where we did 3 of them, Suzzer. And we actually shot a short film for the last one because they were interested in getting involved with that. And it was just such a invigorating experience. But Lacey and I, my wife, Lacey, who co-wrote the film with me, we were watching a lot of documentaries. I think everybody watched Tiger King. But there was like a movie called Beyond the Curve or Behind the Curve that talks about conspiracy, specifically flat Earth. And we watched it and we were like so enamored. We were very moved by the community of people. We're like, yeah, it's easy to laugh at these people. Like, they have a silly idea. But we were so enamored with the way that humanity of like, why do people choose these communities though? Like knowing full well they could be made fun of, they are choosing a community of people who love and respect and agree with them because they all want to be heard for their ideas and feel valuable. And we were like, there's something there. So we just wrote a script for fun in the pandemic, because what else are you going to do? You know, you drink and you write scripts and you read and you play Animal Crossing, right? And we wrote the script and we thought, oh, wow, this is so fun. Let's read it at the readings that we're doing every week. So we read a version of it. B and Eddie came to that. They happened to be at that week's one and they heard the script and they thought it was funny. And then that was 2020. In 2024, they reached out and they're like, hey, we want to do a feature. We just did a short and we did the pilot with you before. We want to do a feature of that movie that you read back and blah, blah, blah. Would you be willing to like pull that back out and edit it and like direct it? And I was like, yeah, like, of course I would. You're actually saying my dream out loud. Hey, would you want us to just out of nowhere do that film that you wrote that you want to direct and let you direct it? I couldn't believe it. And the trust that they put in me, you know, we've been friends for a long time and the trust they had in me was phenomenal. So I had no idea. I hoped, you know, since I was a child making these videos for my classes, just to try to get an A without having to write a paper, ironically led me to be a writer and making movies. And it's just crazy. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's such a great transition because I really want to get into the movie, The Conspiracists, which you can rent now on Amazon or watch on Tubi or the Plex. Anywhere else?
I think Verizon has it on demand too. So if you're
Verizon has it on demand,
VOD, and yeah, I'm sure somebody's pirated it. So, so you could probably find the slime story.
That's when you know you've made it.
Yeah, you've made it. When I think I've Googled it and I'm in like YouTube. I don't think I uploaded this movie on YouTube. Yeah, but then again, I was that person. Yeah.
You know, it's such an interesting concept. And one thing I found
yeah.
interesting is that the official description doesn't simply call The Conspiracists a comedy. It calls it a character study on the backdrop of assertism. That's a very intentional way to describe your movie. What does that phrase mean to you?
I think what it means to me, and I'm pretty sure I wrote that in a fit of pretension. I love it. What I was trying to communicate was that it's not just simply like a film that or a movie that makes you. I didn't want people to just laugh at it and be like, you know, I think it's easy to get people to try to just laugh at something. You could throw in anything, but what I was really compelled by was the people that made. Like we said, we were watching all these documentaries. I'm like, the people are the reason we watch these things. The things that they choose to do and say are the most fascinating things in the world. Excuse me, I just burped. Why they choose to say them and do them is oh, thank God. Okay. Why they choose
I'll cut that. No,
just cut that out. Nobody wants to. There's some perverts ASMR. Keep it in for them. And but we were really fascinated by focusing in on characters. What do these people actually crave? And what do they want? Why are people drawn to conspiracies? And then on top of that, it's like, of course, the bigger we make it, the more absurd we make it, the more approachable. I always find that comedy, and I think you kind of touched on this at the beginning when you were saying that comedy can make you lean and pay attention in a different way. And I think it's like the reason why Shakespeare has clowns in the dramas and the tragedies, because you laugh and your ears open up because you want to hear the next funny thing. So that when the truth hits you, you are more welcome to hearing it than if you are like, oh, something bad's going to happen. I don't want to, and you close off, if you're like, oh, this is dramatic. I don't want to, it's making me uncomfortable. Whereas if you're like, oh, what a silly guy. Oh, that was a religious joke. Oh, I never thought about that. Conspiracy and religion are similar. And like, that was something that we were like, it's not something we're trying to throw down your throat. It's just a matter of keeping this absurdism that keeps you laughing, but then having some sort of honesty to these people, because at the end of the day, they are people, and that's what we wanted to represent.
That's fantastic. Yeah, because I love, like the movie pokes fun at conspiracy culture, but it never feels mean-spirited.
Right.
When did you decide how important it was to make audiences laugh with these characters instead of simply laughing at them?
Pretty early on. It was my wife, Lacey, was very keen on being like, I just don't want people to think that we're just making fun of people for having out their ideas, quote unquote. Let's just like, to be simple about it, to have ideas that are non-traditional.
Right.
And we don't want them to be just made fun of for that fact, because as we started to extrapolate, we all hold these weird ideas. And even if it's really small and minor, it can be such a strange little personal conspiracy that you hold, where you're like, well, I don't go in rooms that are blue. It's like, well, that sounds insane, to somebody. But if you have a reason where you're like, well, I was attacked in a blue room, like, then maybe that's why.
Right. Well, okay.
So each person's own individual thing. So we really wanted it to be more about like, you should fall in love with these people who are desperate for community, and then their ideas are secondary, because we can associate with people who are looking to be heard and understood and loved. Everybody wants that. But it's a little more niche, and the conspiracy stuff, it's like, I don't know what's real and what's not personally. So I didn't think it would be appropriate, and neither of us did, Lacey or I, think it was appropriate to even comment on this. So why a lot of them are fake in the movie is because, I mean, of course, we touched on the big ones: Bigfoot, aliens, flat Earth, like the JFK assassinations. Like those things, I think, are more, they're out of the conspiracy zone.
The Jews with the lasers,
space lasers, yeah, of course. And so we thought, these ideas are so absurd, we don't need to work on those. Everybody understands how absurd they are. Versus getting more and more finite on these weirder, strange things like Mathmasad, right? Men are from Mars and so are dogs.
Definitely.
Pauly DeSantis conspiracy theory is like, it feels like you could, okay, like I believe somebody thinks this, but it doesn't really exist. So it gave us a leeway to be like, and what are their beliefs? And what does he think is true or not? And whereas if we decided that one of these characters was like hardcore JFK, like assassination person, then we have to be like really specific about what we say, because these people exist and they do take it seriously, and they should, because it is something that they're passionate about. However, if we get something wrong, then we're screwed. Whereas with like a fake one, we can say whatever we want, and that's what makes it sort of less about the conspiracy and more about the character, because we can always curate that conspiracy to that character to be like, oh, they chose that because of this part of themselves that they're missing, or this part of themselves that they're looking for. So that became a very an interesting task. But yes, no, it's very important to me, and I'm glad that you saw that we tried to make sure, and it was early on, that the conspiracy theorists, the factualists, the believers, however you want to call them, were sympathetic, and we're never laughing at their beliefs. We're laughing at the actions they take as human beings that would be funny regardless of the belief system that they held. And the belief system just happens to be the backdrop. I think it's the same thing with Christopher Guest, and what makes me so excited about why we wanted to make a documentary is because of people like Christopher Guest, who are making movies like Best in Show, where it's like, it's not about the dogs.
Yeah.
Not really. You're like, let's be real. It's not about the dogs. Mighty Wind is not about folk music.
No.
It's and so
Waiting for Guffman.
Yeah, Waiting for Guffman. Not really about theater, but it is about the people who make theater. So we were like, who are the people who are doing this? And, and that was sort of the window in, because we just don't think it's funny. We think of it's a little bit of a punching down situation if you think of yourself as sort of morally, intellectually superior than somebody who holds a belief that you don't think is true, even if you don't have the evidence. So like aliens, I think, are a really broad one that a lot of us could probably get on board with, and I think a lot of people have, if we've looked at some of the evidence that is being released, it's sort of like, okay, well, there's something happening, but I can't explain it. And it's easy to go, well, yeah, I can see that one. But the farther you get away from the ones that are closer to science and sort of any factual thing, it starts to get really muddy. And it makes it more about that idea and trying to unlock some other aspect of it, where it's like, we're not getting in the weed. We're not trying to actually analyze and psychologically analyze these people. We're not trying to analyze these conspiracy theories. That is not the goal of the film. It is more of the backdrop to force a sense of community, which was really the whole point.
Yeah. And you can definitely feel it, and you can feel it in the way in the script, that you co-wrote with your wife Lacey. And I'm generally curious, what does that writing process actually look like, writing a script with your wife?
Well, it's especially during the pandemic, I think the hardest thing about writing with anyone, writing in general, can be frustrating. Sometimes it comes so fast and you're like, I'm amazing. I am a god to this world. I am so good. And then sometimes you're like, I can't even think of one next thing to do. I have 2 pages. And those middle grounds are mitigated usually by having a partner who can go, well, what about this? And you start playing around. Time, though, often is a factor where it's like, well, will you have time to sit down with that person and play these ideas out and write it down on a postcard and put it on your wall? And most of the time, no, you don't, unless if you're working, you don't have a ton of time to get with someone and do that. But we were in the pandemic and we lived together because we were married, so we had a lot of time to just be like sitting there watching TV and be like, okay, what he just said there, that makes me think of that scene between Daisy and Eric when she walks, when she comes downstairs to apologize to him. I would love there to be something like that, because that's so funny. And she'd be like, yeah, write it down. Okay. And then we finish, and then we go write it. And it would be such a cool moment for us. And we love a bit, I'm a big bit person, and Lacey's also a very big bit person. And we would like to say that our family letters are for the bit, right? And are the words of our, House Stark, if you will. House Paris is for the bit. And and so a lot of these things we would go, okay, we want a scene where we have Pauly and Pauly DeSanti talking about like Mark Ruffalo movies. Okay, well, how would that play out? And so we're like, pull up his IMDb and just start listing them at me. And let's see if that's funny. And like, it was just like would it? And that is funny. But if a character knew these in the order they released without even looking at a computer, that's a big fan. But then to be unbroken by a dog escaping and your business is about dogs, that's really funny. So like, what if a dog escapes and she's like, oh, that's crazy. And then goes right back to exactly chronologically listing Mark Ruffalo movies. We're like, that's really funny. So we just kept building on the bit and building on the bit and building on the bit until it became like, she's like, yeah, I don't know whose dog that is. Wind Talkers. It's like, and then and that became so funny to us that we were like, okay, so that's who Pauly is, right? She's the person who unrelentingly is trying to stick it out. And that really defines the marriage she has with Pauly DeSanti, her husband, Pauly and Pauly DeSanti. And I had to get good at saying them very specifically different, because I think you would naturally say Pauly and Pauly. And that's the joke. But when you're directing them, you can't be like, Pauly, you're going to come here. Pauly, you have to like automatically become a New Yorker. You're like, Pauly, you're going to come over here. Pauly, you're going to go over there. And so it became a distinction for us, but it was just such a funny bit that made us laugh. That's 90% of the movie was like, as we were writing it, A, we were around each other a lot. To get back to your actual question, we were around each other all the time because it was the pandemic and we had nothing else to do. B, we had all these Post-it notes on the wall of our living room at the apartment. We were living in New Jersey at the time. And we just had a bunch of Post-it notes on the wall. So anytime we had an idea for a scene, we would write it down and we just put it where we think it would go. And we go, yeah, that should follow that. And then Daisy, she loses the next one. What if she loses the next one to quicksand? Because that's so stupid. And that makes me laugh. And then we put it up there and then slowly we'd rearrange them. And I'd never written like that before, but the way that 2 ADHD adults in the pandemic needed to write was that. And I think each process, each film, each script that I've ever written has always been like, this demands its own specific process, because sometimes my own personal process or the way that I like to create doesn't fit the process. And so collaborating with my wife at that time for this thing to be communal, it was like, let's get it all out there, because you can't withhold anything. I mean, that's sort of the point of the story, right? We're bearing ourselves, so we have to bear all of our bad ideas or good ideas. I mean, you're right, and then you read it out loud. You're like, all right, read it. You read blah blah blah, and I'll read this person. And then we read it and we're like, that's not funny. That's not funny. It's like, that's not funny. That didn't make us laugh. And so everything that ends up in the script is for better or worse. And it's like, and to anyone watching this or listening to this, if you're listening to it, if you find something not funny in the movie, I'm sorry, but we thought it was funny, and that's why it's in there, because that was the only metric we had to measure what we thought would be a good way to tell the story, and it was just to make each other laugh, because it was like a coping mechanism. And I think that if like now in hindsight, I zoom out and I go, whoa, that's so interesting how it parallels to the actual story itself. It's like we were just trying to find something to hold on to give us a sense of stability and hope and keep us going day by day. And I think that's exactly what conspiracy theorists in this film, you know, all the Marks, the Erics, the Miltons, Polly, it's like why they do this is like, it just gets them to the next day. They need it. It's part of what they are. It's who they are. You know, it's where they are at that time. And some of them, and so we really felt like everything was so important, and it would only make it into the script if it made us laugh. And then as we edited later, as we got closer to shooting, it was like, okay, well, it makes us laugh, but is it actually telling us any information about the story? Or are we just like are we just on a run-on idea that's just silly? And so we would curb that and go, but what we really need to get back to is talking about Daisy's problem with this. So can we make Daisy's problem with this, like, have a joke in it, but really land that so that it feels like the heart of the story? And then we can go back to Eric and have him say something silly. And then we can go like, and so that sort of became the ebb and flow of our process was just trying to make each other laugh, really. And
that's funny. I was going to ask you, you know, every writer has a scene that they fight for, that they're like, no, we cannot cut this scene.
Yeah.
Do
I have it?
But I'm not going to ask you that yet, because
okay.
I want to tell you a scene that I was hinting at before we went on,
right?
That I rewatched, that I really, really enjoyed, that I think is kind of the definition of the film itself. And that is this fight between Daisy and Eric.
Yeah.
It happens about a third way of the way into the movie. And it was really fascinating because, like, in all this like kind of absurdity and comedy, it was this real honest fight between brother and sister.
Yeah.
And Daisy says, you know, not everything is a conspiracy, which I love that line. And then also she says, a lot of people need this more than you know, and walks out. And I'm like, I need to watch this again. And so I watched it again, that specific scene. And it was just like really the like definitive moment of the movie for me, because it really spoke to what this movie really is about. And it's about these conspiracies that bring people together, because people want to have a sense of belonging and a sense of community. And seeing how passionate Daisy is, and she knows her brother is too, because this is what they've been bonding over. It was really great to see them kind of have this fight about it. And really Daisy say, like, you know, we've been good, you know, we've been getting along, we've had great moments, like, do you really want to ruin this because of a breakup, you know? And so it's just like, it was just like such a beautiful scene to me. How did that scene come about? Because it's like it wasn't really comedy at that point. It was really heartfelt about like a sibling relationship.
I'm glad you love that moment. I have two things to say about that. One is to answer your question. Two is to tell you a fun anecdote about shooting that scene. But I'll start with the answer to the question, which is I forgot it already. I got so excited to tell you the other thing, and then how did that scene come about? We always wanted to return. If every other character could be like super off the wall, like silly in this film. We wanted Daisy to always be like the pillar, the keel, right? Keeping the boat moving forward and trying to make her story, even if it is sort of like not as exciting, quote unquote, as I think other people's stories, it is the honest story that she's like, I'm just trying to make this thing happen. And everything around me is making it very difficult. And I think that a lot of us feel that way sometimes. It's like, oh my God, everybody's making my life harder. And so with every scene that she has with Eric, she has like 3 combative moments with Eric throughout the film that get more and more. There's the garage moment. There's this one that you're talking about where she storms into the house after she has invited him back. Oh, and then there's the one that's not a super fight. It's actually her apology. So it's like garage, stuff happens. She apologizes to him. He apologizes to her. They're good. And then there's this third fight that just like act 3 breaks it all back to just takes it all apart. And we really wanted, both my wife and I, Lacey and I, really wanted this feeling of like, well, whenever we return to the siblings, sorry, it's not going to be a laugh riot, but this is the heart of the film. And so we need to make sure that if everybody else is silly, they can still have jokes and they're still funny. Like as characters, I think they have great moments, but these specific things need to land for real with the audience. They need to feel like a real sibling explosions. And the first one's like sort of oh, you got me by surprise and now I'm on the defense. The second one is like, I do love you and I'm sorry about what has happened, but like we can be a team. And then it's like, okay, here we go. And then this third explosion sort of became like, this has to be the biggest one. You know, this has to be huge. Yeah. And so we wrote that sort of in the later game because we were like, the arc's not done. Like we need to see them have one more, like he just doesn't get what she's asking of him, and she's not listening to him, he's not listening to her. They're on these 2 selfish journeys to make whatever their story is at that point happen, that they just cannot see eye to eye on this at this time. And it forces her to explode on him. And the language she chooses, and this leads me to the anecdote, which is the script is not nearly as vulgar or profane as she ends up delivering that. But that was our third take.
Yeah.
And
I left out the F bomb.
That's
everything is a conspiracy.
Yes, everything's a blanking conspiracy. But Terry and Christopher, who play Daisy and Eric respectively, and my buddy Noah, who plays Mark, who's in the background of the scene, just having to experience it as this sort of new boyfriend role that he's had, that he's kind of fallen into. They had some good ones where it was like, this is right on the script and you're saying the words, I'm just not feeling it. And I was like, I know you have this ability to go there, but we need to get there. And I said, so like, just don't worry about it. I'm like, I just say, if you can get the gist of what you're trying to say to him, I'll be happy, but just rail into him. Like he needs to not speak. And he's a talker. He'll talk his way out of it. That's the character. So he's clever and he's smart. So like, don't let him get a word in. Don't let him lie to you. Like, you know what's going on. And so hit it with that. And she came in on that was the third take. And she came in and she just like railed him. And she added so many more things than, you know, especially language wise, that we had not written into the script. There's like maybe 1 or 2, but we were like, we're trying not to put them in the script. But in this moment, she's just so passionate. And she did that. And I was like, I can't. That's the one. I mean, she just was so honestly just tearing herself out over this thing, and his reaction to it, because it was not exactly what was written, what they were used to, in the best way. And I encourage that a lot. You know, we tried to stick to the script, and I would say 99% of the film is almost exactly what we wrote. But there's a good amount of like that 1% of film, these lines here and there that are really improvised. But the end of that anecdote is like, so she crushes that, and we're all in the house, and we're like, whoa, because these are oneers. So like we can't speak, and we're just letting it play as if it's a play. And we're just trying to, I'm like, you know, get whoever you feel like you need to look at the time. Try to get them both. But if she sits down, they're too far away. We got to pull out. Like, and Mauro, my DP, very good at playing that game with me of like, you don't know what's coming next. So just listen.
With it.
Yeah. And she comes back in and she's like, I messed up. Oh my God, I messed up. I said all these words that were not in the script. I'm sorry. And I said the F word like so many times. And I was like, no,
You could.
we're we're moving on. Like that was it.
Oh
And it's
man.
such a way. She was like, really? Maybe I should do it again. I was like, I don't want to, because now you're going to be thinking about it. I was like, I don't need you to think about it. That was the exact right one, because you gave up. At some point, your brain went, I'm not saying this right, but I'm not stopping the take. And that frustration, it reads. So we think you're mad at your brother. I know you're mad at yourself. But that's what's beautiful about film, is like, I don't
Yeah.
have to know why you're mad, what's frustrating you, and why you're just getting so just caught up in words, because we do that when we're frustrated, and we just say things and we're like, what am I talking about? And that's how she felt. She's like, I just felt like I was saying crazy, like nothing made sense. I said, no, it did make sense. And that's precisely why I want to keep it. And we're just going to move on. And I think that it was like everybody was sort of like, yeah, I guess we're good. You know, there's that sort of like, I guess that's the one. And then in post, we decided to censor it because I think the beeps are funnier, especially because there is so few language in the film that when we hit
Right.
that point, that like when they pop out and they become like sort of funny in the way that like on South Park they're funny, or you know, like
Right.
it's just like, well, we know what they're saying, but it's just funnier to hear the beep sound than it is to hear the word.
Yeah, no, and I thought Terry and Christopher did such a great job, because it's really hard to have such a serious fight in
Yeah.
the middle of all this comedy. It's
Yeah.
really hard to switch on a dime, and I thought the way that you guys edited it to go into that scene and move out of it, and then how real it felt with Terry and Christopher in their argument,
Yeah.
that's why it kind of made me had to do a double take, because I was like, oh wow. And then I don't know, I guess it just made me a little bit teary-eyed, because it was like, it's kind of an epiphany of like, oh, this is the heart of the film, and this is such a great representation of like why this stuff really matters to these people. And it was just like such a beautiful scene. So man, I
Thank
really
you.
love that.
I
Yeah.
really love every moment that Daisy and Eric have, because it feels
Mhm.
so very we talked briefly at the beginning of like where we sit sibling wise, and I'm the oldest of three and my wife is the youngest of three, and so we grew up
Mhm.
with siblings, and then all of our siblings are married, so we have this like larger extended sibling family, and we just wanted those moments to feel like that weird sort of awkward thing. It's like, I think there are some, I'm sure there are some siblings that are like just so close that are like they can tell each other anything. But I would say for the most part, there's still like a little bit of this space between a lot of siblings where you're like, I'll tell you a lot, but not everything. You know, I
Right.
can't, I don't know if I can let you in on that one because you might go tell mom, you know, uh and so that feeling between them was very important to us. And there's like that scene, the apology on his bed, with when she offers him the ticket. A has our favorite line in the movie, which is, "Oh, Daisy, I already have so much paper." Um, but that moment always rings with me. That is like such a genuine brother and sister. It's so hard to apologize to your sibling when you still
Yeah.
think you're right, but you're just trying to do the right thing. And then for them to have a second fallout, which leads to this thing. It's like, I already apologized to you, and then you disappointed me again, and you just like, I don't know how to tell you that I'm angry and we're done. I can't deal with you. You know, we're not forever done. Just right now, I can't look at you. I don't want you a part of this thing anymore. And I think that became so very real. So we wanted those moments to feel authentic.
So real. Yeah, it was very real. I read that you shot this movie in just 11 consecutive days. Is that correct?
Yeah. 11 consecutive
That's
days over the election as well. That happened in the midst
okay.
of
Wow.
our shoot.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is incredibly ambitious schedule. Did you
Yeah.
ever have a moment where you thought like, are we gonna pull this off? Or a moment where you're like, we're
Oh, yeah.
actually gonna pull this off, you know?
Oh yeah, first day was like I got to set, I think like a week, no, not a week, but maybe like 3 days before we started shooting, and I got to like
Mhm.
location. So I was there and we were working on stuff, and Beatrice and I were in the basement. We were like spray painting the boxes to look like the pyramids that are just in the background of the con scene. And there's fittings. Actors are coming in for fittings. They're arriving. I'm scouting locations with DP. Like, it was a very, like, everybody's doing something. But he also did costumes and scenery, and Eddie was also like a gopher. So he was like running to the airport, and he was getting food, and he was going to the train station. And so everybody was sort of wearing a lot of hats. Chris Bruce, another producer, it's like his was his offices, but he was also still running his business while trying to also assist us in all of the things to prep the movie and
Right.
transporting us around and getting props. And we were just like a ragtag bunch, just trying to make this thing come together. But I was there, and that first day, I got like sick, and I felt horrible. But that first day was like, get up at 5 a.m. and I was not feeling well, so I was pounding Theraflu, just trying to like not die. And we had, I think, 3 or 4 locations across Wilmington that first day. Oh, we were in Havre de Grace at the beginning of the day, shooting at the Decoy Museum.
Nice.
And which is a real place. You can go visit it in Havre de Grace, Maryland. It is a true decoy museum, and that's where we shot. We were there first at the butt crack of dawn, and then we went to like 3 or 4 other locations that we shot like all sorts of moments all over the movie, just because we had like a 2-hour block at this building downtown, and that was the scene where they're giving the bag back to Gabby, or we have to shoot this one hallway in this building because this is them showing them the other hall that is not as nice as the previous hall, right? And so we were all over the place. And I remember us doing on the last shoot, which is the very first thing you see in the movie, which is them doing the dance in the beautiful hall, the Grand Hotel in downtown Wilmington, that they end up losing immediately. And we were shooting that, and I was like this close to just falling over. I was so tired. I felt so sick.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, every day can't be like this. I'm not going to survive. I'm going to die. And I'm like, I can't do this. That was the only day we had that many locations. Every other day was like 1, 2 at most, because a lot of times we would just shoot all of a character's location and just bring in anybody who visited that spot. But so that day felt like this is not going to happen, and I'm going to not be able to do this. And I was just fighting tooth and nail to just be like, I'm going to go home and go to sleep. But we were pulling these days where it was like 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. And then just like, I'd go home and I'd write down like what I wanted to do for the next day, and I would journal about it. And so I have like this like day by day journal of like what we shot, because I just wanted to experience that and keep that. In this book where I had all the shots drawn out for every frame of the movie. And because I was very visual when I was directing. So I was like, I want it to look like this. I knew exactly. And so that first day felt like hell. And then as it went on, I was like, okay, I'm getting this. I feel very comfortable in this. And so it's just strange for me to go back and watch the film and see scenes where I was like, that was the first day, and I felt like I was going to die. And I just felt so out of depth and just like unprepared, even though I had done so much prep. I just felt so confused, and like, I hope people respect me, and I hope that they understand that I know what I'm doing, and blah, blah, blah. And then the last day of shooting, I mean, we did 3 days of Con, and it's like, because that was such a massive thing, and we had extras, and we built it from the ground up, tore it down in like a day. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. And my dad's actually in that scene. He came to Delaware to shoot. He's an extra. He's the guy selling the tinfoil hats. So shout out to Mike Parise Sr. And
was this first time acting?
Yeah, like I'm not. So not Law and Order XYZ was his first time acting. Where he played guy washing the car. No, he was guy washing the car, going, yeah, I think I saw the guy go that way. Yeah, not a performer, not an actor by trade, but he really had a great time being on that set. We had like 60 people, and it was cool. I think for me too, to be like, I'm on monitor, and I'm like, okay, you good, Dad? Okay, cool. So like, you go with them. All right. So can we just like, can I talk to everybody in this room for a second? Like, get on the microphone. It was just like a very cool, surreal. Like, I'm directing 60 people in a room on like how they're going to walk around the room.
And so your dad gets to witness,
and he's like a part of it.
Element.
Yeah, and he was a part of it. And the other fun fact about dads being in the scene, so Eddie's dad is in a lot of the movie too. He's one of the mechanics.
Okay.
So Lloyd, shout out to Lloyd Sr. He's one of the mechanics at the auto body shop where Milton works. And then Terry Lynn, who plays Daisy, her dad is the guy selling T-shirts at Con in the movie, and who's staring at the camera. That's her dad. So we just tried to get all these parents in. I think Eddie's mom is in it. She's the woman with the dogs that they lose at the dog at Mark Ruffalo, and she's like, "That's not my dog. That's his mom." Yeah. His brother is in it, talking to Lily at Con, saying like, "I would love to do a underground bunker." The interior design for an underground bunker, and so there's like a lot of family and friends in it, which is really cool. I mean, Chris, Bruce, the other producer, myself, I'm in it as the documentarian, but like a bunch of people in the crew. We try to get everybody involved, and everybody behind the camera makes it on in some way, because we either needed the bodies for Con. We like put on a Con t-shirt and you walk by because we need we just need to feel busier. I think everybody makes a cameo at some point in this movie that worked on the movie, which was really surreal too. Is that like, even, like our DP is like, they're never in front of the camera, they're holding the camera. But he gets his own moment at the end of the film where we can see him coming up with the camera. And so it's just like it was a very interesting thing. So by the end of it, felt very comfortable directing a room full of 60 people and trusting in my team, who were so amazing, the small but mighty team that made this movie, to be like, you guys are good with costumes and makeup. You're fixing the lighting. You're getting the props set up. I'm going to go around and tell 60 extras exactly what I want them to do based on what shirts we have them in and who I think they would be following, what conspiracy, and giving them a walking path and being very specific so that when I call action, there is some sort of fluidity movement. And so it was like, that's when I became like the stage actor in me, the director came out, where I was like, I'm directing one big scene where I'm saying, okay, so you're going to walk up here and you're curious about flat Earth, but you are a round earther and you're trying to pull her from that table over there because you don't want her to go. And you're on the fence. You're not sure if it's flat or round. And then I would walk to the next people and be like, so your whole job is to find Gabby, who runs the burn notice, because you're huge. You're noticers. You have the burn notice shirt on. That's her. I said, she's going to start over there. Your goal is to get a photo with her at all costs. And she needs to be in it. And it needs to be a selfie. So have fun with that mission. And so like, then I would go to her and I go, you do not want to take a picture with those two. Okay. They're really freaking you out, but you might. We'll see how it plays out, but you let me know. It's like, and so I would give them a bunch of different opposing things. Like, you're just here for the food. You have no idea what's going on, And we shot in the JCC in Wilmington, and so the director of the JCC is actually in the movie. She's the one who I told to talk to the flat earthers, and she was like, I mean, it sounds pretty good. So, and he's going, well, this is round Earth, of course, this is flat Earth, and that's what we do. And she's the one going, oh, that's very interesting. Oh, you have T-shirts. And so it's just such a cool, like, even the people who worked at the JCC are in this movie because they were just so curious. And
that's great.
I just thought it was so beautiful, like the community that we built with the thing. So by the end of it, to answer your question, the long way around is the beginning. I was like, I'm going to die. I'm never going to make it. And in the end, I was like, I want to do this forever. So this is so awesome. Fun. And I really feel comfortable to doing it.
What a great journey. That's fantastic.
Wild.
I'm going to ask you some more rapid fire questions.
Please, because I told you I could talk.
Are you ready? What is your favorite mockumentary and why?
Waiting for Guffman, I think is my favorite. It's between that and Spinal Tap. I love Rob Reiner as a director because The Princess Bride is my favorite film. But and I just think everything he directed was great, and I tried to take everything he did as like a community builder. But I think Waiting for Guffman, there's just something so charming about seeing these people who grows to be like A-list celebrities, and they're just like very beginning of their career and just finding their way through this like absolutely charming, very small cast film that is just, it works. It still works. And I couldn't fathom it. We watched it a bunch when we were writing the film. We were just like, wow, it holds up. I can't believe it. It's so niche. It's so specific. So yes, I would say it's a tie between Waiting for Guffman and Spinal Tap for those reasons.
Okay. Favorite comedy of all time?
Well, The Princess Bride is up there. My top like three that switch: Princess Bride and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which I think people wouldn't think is a comedy. I do think it's quite funny. And then The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Those are like my three of my favorite movies comedically. Thank you, Dean. The Princess Bride, and it's ironic, Princess Bride and Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid are both written by William Goldman, who is my all-time favorite writer. That probably explains why they're at the top. Didn't know that when I saw them, and I love them. But now that I'm a writer, now that I know that and I've read his stuff, I'm like, that explains why I like his stuff so much.
Okay. One movie you wish you could watch again for the very first time?
Star Wars.
A New Hope?
Yeah, I think so. I'm a big Star Wars fan. You know, like
I was going to ask you a Star Wars question too.
Yeah. I'm a big Star Wars. There's an Ewok right here, little tiny one. So I would say definitely like any of the original trilogy. I remember watching them on VHS as a kid and just being like glued and just running that VHS into the ground. So yeah.
Okay. A movie that made you want to tell stories.
Oh, that's a good one. That made me want to tell stories. I think it was Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think I love Indiana Jones, and I just thought there was something about the way the story was told, the way the camera moves, the way these characters are so definitive. It's like these silhouettes that are just like standing on the shoulders of these giants, and then this soundtrack. Yeah, that movie made me want to go. That took me somewhere, and that is that is a very real fictional place, and I thought that was kind of awesome.
Favorite director?
Oh boy, I mean Rob Reiner, as far as just like general direction, as far as how he works with actors and the kind of performances that he crafts, is I think he's such a friendly, amicable. I wanted to run my set like him because I just thought, man, if I could become just very friendly with everybody on set and just like first name basis, know a lot of things about them and understand like how they can contribute. If they have an idea, can I work it into the scene? Right? Wouldn't it be funny if, sure, let's try it. And I know that's how he works. And so I was really enamored with trying to do things like him. Mel Brooks, I think also Mel Brooks is like
100 years old.
I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. I know. 100 years old today. He's absolute legend. You know, he could also be up there with my favorite writers and directors and actors.
Oh, yeah.
Just in general, he's
brilliant.
The best. Yeah. Carl Reiner as well. 1,000-Year-Old Man. But I also have it's hard not to have a soft spot for Wes Anderson and the way he crafts a picture. I mean, no one makes it like, there's no film that exactly like, there's without question that you're watching a Wes Anderson film from top to bottom, from the score to the acting to the shots. So I have to give him credit that like he is a true one of a kind. Whereas, the Reiners and Mel Brooks are also just like, I would love to just be able to have an ounce of that creative power that they are able to achieve with comedy. Unbelievable.
Favorite screenplay?
Oh, I actually think it's The Sting.
Ooh,
I just really love that film. I think it's really clever. I would say Butch Cassidy and Princess Bride because I love William Goldman. And The Sting, not too far off. It's up with those. Wonder Woman for you. Okay, love that. Very
nice. This is Lucas's favorite film. No,
Lucas said, "Happy Sunday, Lucas." I mean, also, it would be hard not to say that one of the best scripts is probably also The Dark Knight. I hate to just be like the white man of it all. The Dark Knight is so good. Oh man, it's so good.
It is really good.
Yeah,
and also The Conspiracists.
And The Conspiracy. Yeah, it's no Dark Knight, but yeah, it's funny.
Could get up there. Comedy or drama?
I'm a comedy person, 100%. I'd rather laugh. And I think it goes back to what I was saying before, that like we are more willing to open our ears when we're laughing than when we're crying and when we're upset. So I think that comedy can actually move mountains, whereas drama capsules a very difficult time that we can associate with. And we can go, oh, I'm glad I'm through it.
Theater or film?
Oh, what is my position?
What about this? Yeah, I was thinking about this too.
Okay.
What about when it comes to you acting? Theater?
Oh, theater. Yeah, theater 100%. It's just alive.
Okay.
It's impossible to encapsulate that feeling.
One filmmaker you'd love to have dinner with?
Mel Brooks.
That'd be awesome.
100% Mel Brooks, without question.
What's the last great movie that you watched?
The last great movie, like that I consider just like an absolute great, or just like that I watched that I was like, well, that was great. Like a movie that I think was like, this is altering movies, would be Everything Everywhere All at Once. I thought it was just mind-shatteringly like funny, and like that's a good one that walks the line between, well, this is hilarious, and also, oh, this is deeply sad and deeply troubling, and beautifully shot, expertly acted. That I thought was great that I've seen recently. I don't know. I don't watch as much movies as I used to. Weapons. I loved Weapons. I thought Weapons was really good. And I'm not really a horror person. I never liked horror until recently. And that movie was like, there's something cool happening here. And I can't quite put my finger on exactly what I love about it, but it's just cool. It's unique.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Did you see Obsession?
No, that's on my list. I have not seen it. I don't get to the movies. It's funny. It's like I don't go to the theaters, but I watch a lot.
You're a busy guy.
I know. I have a 5-month-old. I'm running a show. I'm writing a Broadway musical. I'm writing another film. I'm busy.
What's the last great TV show that you watched?
Oh, I do love a TV show. Adolescence.
I love that show.
That was destroyed me.
It was shot, like,
but I'm anyone who could sees the Conspiracists know that I love a oneer. A lot of these shots are single shot, because I thought, well, that's how life is. We don't get to reset up, so we're going to just try to make these shots as long as possible, within reason. I was astounded by that show, just top to bottom, the ingenuity of it. I haven't stopped thinking about it. Just the fact that each episode of that show rehearsed for like 11 days before they shot it. And then they shot, I think there was like something like at least 7 to 12 versions of each episode. And they just have to pick one because they didn't want to.
Yeah, that's
crazy. They were shooting like 3 of them a day. Unbelievable. Active. Top to, just like from the planning to the execution, everyone involved, just well done. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a fantastic.
But
series.
Drama, super sad, very upsetting.
So
it was like one of those things where you're like, this is amazing. I'm so sad. You know, like you're like, wow, I'm gonna cry. Yeah.
I am traumatized.
I'm deeply unwell, but wow.
Yeah.
How did they do that? Yeah.
It was fantastic. Yeah. It was one of the most memorable of the past decade for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, one last question. Okay. Every filmmaker leaves a little bit of themselves inside a movie. When people finish watching The Conspiracists, what do you hope stays with them after the credits roll?
I am a big community builder. I love to bring people together. I think that I'm a golden retriever type individual who's always like, are we friends? Let's be friends. Let's go do something. Hey, give me your number. I'll call you. We could go for a walk, you know, and and we could drink bowls of water on the ground. Both my wife and I love to create that. Like it goes back to when we were living in New York, we used to have weekly or like monthly readings at our apartment of new plays and scripts that our friends wrote. And then when the pandemic hit, we did 52 weeks of the socially isolated script readings, which was curating and casting and bringing my friends in and organizing that. So I think, and for a lot of people, that was like what got them through. It certainly got me through a lot of the pandemic and the difficulty of it. So yeah, I think I'm a community builder, and I love to bring people together through laughter and through just making new fun things together. And so if anyone takes anything away, I think that's what this film is about. Really, is like bringing people together and feeling a sense of community and belonging, no matter who you are.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, Schitt's Creek got us through the pandemic.
Oh, I do love dude. See, that's the thing. It's like we are living in the golden age. Everything is so
That's what they
good.
say.
I mean, Beef. I loved Beef. I think Beef is great.
Oh man,
Schitt's
Beef
Creek
was so
is
good.
amazing.
Did you see season 2 of Beef? Season
No,
2?
I haven't watched it yet. Is it good?
It's very different, but
Yeah.
I watched it twice because I watched it on the plane when my wife and I went to Europe.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, do you want me to wait? She was like, no, just watch it. And then after watching, I was like, I think it's good enough for you to watch. Like, I would watch it with you again. So
Yeah.
we watched it and I was like, yeah, it's good.
It's
The
good.
writing is just, it's so brilliant. Like the way
So
he writes
smart.
it. Yeah, it's just fantastic. So, but yeah, Schitt's Creek got us through the
Schitt's
pandemic.
Creek,
And
yeah.
I proposed to my wife with the song that David sings to his partner.
Yes.
Simply the Best by Tina Turner.
Is that how you propose?
Yeah, I hired a guitarist and he was like, I was like, oh, let's listen to the, like walking around this lake, like let's listen to the guitars. She thought it was like a homeless guy like asking for like money. I'm like, no, let's just listen to the song. And so he starts playing the guitar and then I turn
That
around
is so romantic. I love that.
singing the song. Yeah, so that was the first show that me and her both watched that like we hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
Individually that we watched together. So it was like, yeah, it definitely hit us at the right time. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely beautiful. A, well done. And B, it's so funny because Lacey and I, my wife and I, our favorite show when we were dating was The Office. That's what we would watch together. And we've been together 17 years. So,
wow.
So The Office was
Congrats.
like on the air. Thank you. When we started dating each other in college. And so at our wedding, I quoted an episode of The Office in my vows. For my deep fans, they're going to know this one, which is I went, what I love about Lacey is that our relationship is sort of like we're soup snakes. And the reason we are I'm supposed to say soulmates. We're soulmates is what I did. And it's just like, she had no idea I was going to throw that at her. And it's just like, it was just such a funny way to start the whole ceremony.
I thought you were going to say wedding in the dictionary is described as the welding
merging of two metals.
The merging of two metals. Well, you guys are metals. Gold medals.
Gold medals. Yeah. There's so many, but I was like, soup snakes is it's a deep cut. It's like
so
season
good.
3. And yeah, that just made me so it's no surprise that like The Office, Parks and Recreation, there's another great show, Welcome to Flash, that was on a few years ago that we really loved.
With
the
Ed
jury
Helms,
duty.
Right? Is it with Ed Helms?
No, what? No, he wasn't on that show. But I know what you're talking about.
What was it called? It
was called Welcome to Flash. It was Sean William Scott. Was like the preacher in town, and then it was
interesting.
Like all these people. You're like, I've seen them in other shows. Yeah, but it was very cool. It was a very cool sort of like adaptation of a British mockumentary series. But that sort of that hit us too. I mean, there's so much good stuff out there. It's crazy. Yeah. It's awesome. There's never an end to going, well, that's another cool thing that I will maybe forget because there's so many other cool things.
Or into the next the next script, right? Yeah, Baby Reindeer is fantastic.
Baby Reindeer disturbed the heck out of me. I love it.
Michael, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. Like, I've just really enjoyed getting a glimpse into the creative process behind the Conspiracists. And it's one thing to watch a finished film, but it's another to hear about like the ideas, the collaboration, the challenges, and all the decisions that happen long before an audience ever sees the final product. So I really appreciate that. And beneath all of the comedy, there's this genuine heart to this film, and you can see it through the way that you and Lacey wrote the script, and it was really beautiful. And it reminds us that sometimes the things that make us different are the very things that bring us together. And I think that's a message that's just,
100%.
like, so easy to connect with. So congratulations to you, Lacey, and everyone involved with the Conspiracists. I hope people check it out, not just because it's funny, but because I think they'll walk away appreciating, like, the story and the characters and the passion that went into making it. And it was just such a pleasure to watch and be able to get to dive into the movie and talk with you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's an easy watch. I mean, it's like an hour and a half. We tried to make it as tight as we possibly could so that people would just sit down and watch it uninterrupted. And it's just fun. Even if you're like, I don't like documentaries, it's like, well, then just put it on, just buy it, put it on in the background. It puts your dog to sleep. It's fantastic. A fun fact I'll leave you with one small anecdote about the film that is very specifically unique that people don't often know. Milton, the character of Milton, he was initially Eric and Daisy's uncle, and he and the mom had their own interior design firm. He was initially just a gay man who happened to be their uncle, and just had this sort of subplot where he was really interested in conspiracy theories, but he kept trying to convince everybody he wasn't. And we thought, well, that's kind of fun. You know, like where he's like, well, yeah, I mean, not since I went. And then he would just like trail off. And we were like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then as we were working on it, one of our, my assistant director for the film, Marin Lavelle, who's quite awesome as well. She was just like, I just wish there was like one more point of view of like someone, I don't know, I feel like if we're missing something, I just don't know what it is. And we were like, oh yeah, let's think about that. And Lacey and I both sat down and I was like, what if Milton isn't their uncle? What if he's like some weird classic conspiracy doc? Like everybody in here is a little odd. Like they're not classic conspiracy people. Like what about like a classic lives off the grid, sort of like, I don't know where you stand politically, but you're dangerous. And like, what's going on with it? What if he was the same guy, but then we just kind of molded him into this completely other person who was just so depressed because of his divorce and losing like the kids and coming out late in life that like he just had nothing else to turn to but like these forums. And it was just like a light bulb moment went off. And so I think that he has one of the most beautiful arcs and is one of the most interesting characters in the movie, with no small part in thanks to John Jessier, who plays the heck out of him. Yeah. He's unbelievable. The character was initially supposed to be like 30, and it was just like her younger sister, like the uncle that's almost the same age as you know. And then he ended up being like this 50-year-old man because it was like he's just too good in the audition.
Yeah, he was so great.
The whole character just shifted entirely. And yeah, I like to remember that like the very first draft, he was just like this little small bit role of the uncle. And now he is like, I think one of the most pivotally beautiful characters in the film.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that story. Yeah, John was just like hilarious, and I don't know, like the way he would like look into the camera. I'm just like his delivery. It was just, that's so cool how
everything was so pure
evolved. Yeah, it was. Yeah, everything was so pure, and yeah, the character felt so lived in. Like he played it so like I could see that guy. I know that guy. You know, like. He just played it 100%. So well.
He really, and he was such a good collaborator. So it was cool to work with him. And he would be like, is this funny? Like I drew, like the picture he shows at the auto body shop, he brought that in on his own. That was not a prop I made. That was not in the script. That was not something we built. He was like, I have this funny thing. Do you mind if I wait to show you on camera? I said, I love it. Whatever you have, I'm going to roll with it. And we'll just run with it. And we did. And he just pulled it out. And I was like, well, explain this to me, Milton. What's going on here? Like, and we just started riffing on it. I was like, oh, can we tie it into it was just, it's cool to work with. Everybody in this film just really has a moment where they shine. And yeah, John's just excellent as Milton. And every time I watch it, I'm like, God, he just feels so real. He does such a great job. He's also the sweetest man in the world. So
that helps.
I love him. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I think it reads. I think you feel that. Even when he's saying, 100%. Even when he's saying the most bad, crazy stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
This was fantastic. Michael, tell the people where they can find the movie, and then let us know what you got going on next or currently.
Cool. Yeah, you can find the movie online. You can find The Conspiracists documentary 2026 is on Amazon Prime. It's on Tubi. It's on Plex. It's on Verizon On Demand, I believe. It's on some other video on demand service that I don't know. I think you could even buy it on iTunes now, the Apple. It's everywhere if you go looking for it. And please review it. Like, go on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. Give us something, because we'd love to start having a tomato meter, but we need like 50 people to review it. So please go do it. And for me, I live on the East Coast. So if any listeners, viewers are in the DMV area, I'm currently playing Pete the Cat in Pete the Cat at Imagination Stage in Bethesda. And I'll be going on to doing right after this Come From Away at Ford's Theater, the historic Ford's Theater in DC, and just making my careers. And then I play at Roundhouse Theater in Bethesda as well. And I'm also on the most recent season of The Food That Built America on History Channel. I reprise a role that I played in season 2 in now season 7 as Frank Carney, one of the creators of Pizza Hut.
Very nice. Awesome. And
Wow.
if you guys like that was fantastic. If you guys like what you see, like and subscribe, comment at the Evan Edition. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. This was a fantastic conversation, Michael. Thank you so much again for joining us, talking about this hilarious, heartfelt movie.
Thank you.
Stick around after we go off so I can thank you again. Everyone,
Okay.
Thank you for commenting and being here for the conversation. And we will be in our regular programming next Sunday at 6 p.m. We'll do maybe a little special top 5 4th of July themed movies to be on brand. You got one off the top of the head?
What's it's called, like the great. Hold on. Keep doing your thing. I gotta look at the title. I don't want to mess this up.
I was done.
No. There's got to be more. Who wrote A Christmas Story? He wrote a movie that's like the great
Christmas
4th
story
of
that's
July.
been written like it's from Dickens. It's from like
no. Like the film A Christmas Story. The You'll Shoot Your Eye Out. Movie. The writer of this movie made one before they made The Christmas Story, and it's about his experience as a kid during 4th of July in the Midwest, and it is
it's
so
not Baby
funny.
Geniuses. He directed.
He wrote it. No, no, it's the writer. What's his name? Yeah, but I gotta pull it up.
Bob Clark. Is Bob Clark the writer? Is it Bob Clark?
I think so.
Or Lee Brown. Let me see. Bob Clark.
Here we go. Hold on. We're gonna get this. Gene Shepard is the writer. Gene Sharp.
Okay.
Gene Shepard wrote this movie. It's called. What is this movie called?
Is this like a very niche movie, or are we gonna be like,
it's so niche? It's so good though. No, nobody's ever seen it. So let me be very clear. Nobody knows what this.
They're gonna be like, what the heck?
It's called. What is this movie called? What is this movie? It's gonna kill me. I'm so sorry. This is like the dumbest.
Is Dean saying the title? Is Dean saying the title, or is he just saying you're welcome?
Oh shoot! Thank you for bearing with us.
Okay.
Well, I'll find it. I know. Is it called My Summer Story? Oh no, it's gonna kill me.
I don't know. He's written some
it's like a short.
None of these titles that I'm seeing are like 4th of July centric. They're like light fantastic and like tiki and visions. I'm like, none of these sound like but you tell me off air. I'll tell them.
I will. Please. I'm finding it now. And don't keep these poor people. They're just having to watch me stumble my way through the dumbest thing I've ever done.
This was fantastic though, Michael. Thank you again so much for coming on the show, talking about the movie. Go see The Conspiracists. Go check out the Evan Edition when you can. We have a lot of other fantastic interviews lined up, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your week. Take care, my friends. Bye.
It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.